it is my pleasure to welcome Courtney Rawlins to the program. Courtney is the operations director of SMG Advertising and Film, but she's also a networking legend in the coastal empire. Courtney is on the board of directors of the Greater Pooler Area Chamber of Commerce and is the current president of Savannah Buy Local. Welcome to Good Morning Market, Courtney.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited. I like legends. I'm going to use that in the future.
Yeah, can you put that on your LinkedIn profile?
Yes,
When you become even more famous, I want a nickel every time someone uses it.
you got it. You got it.
Get my royalties. So I'm really excited to have you on, and I was thinking about my first set of topics for this program, and I think that networking is one of those old school things that keeps coming up because for all the digital newfangled stuff, and you're knee deep in it over there at SMG Advertising and Film, knowing people and being well connected still is a proven method for us small and mid-sized businesses being successful. And when I wanted to cover this topic, I wanted to get an expert who could speak to it much more eloquently and experience-wise than I could ever. And you were the first person that came to mind. So really appreciate you spending some time with us today.
You're welcome. It's my pleasure.
So people who are from the greater Savannah area, the coastal empire, as I call it, chances are they're going to know who Courtney Rawlins is in some respect, but not to take that for granted. And we'll have different people who are from different areas listening. So maybe you could start us off just letting us know who Courtney Rawlins is, maybe a little bit on your career journey, but maybe also if people meet you at a networking event, what's something they would need to know about Courtney Rawlins?
Oh, that's a good one. Well, so I do have a little bit of a story, and we can start with that. Originally, I was a 20-year banker. I started in real estate, worked my way up to commercial real estate. I had some things change in my life. My children left the nest, and I was kind of like, who am I if I'm not doing book bags and making dinner and all this? And I decided that I kind of wanted to get back into my community, do things out there and, get out there and see what there was for me to get into. I ended up starting a networking event called Savannah's Best Connections, along with a friend of mine, Nate Schaefer. And we were raising money for nonprofits. That turned into me being a nonprofit champion, and I was offered a job with a tourism company. I was very excited to take that. I was going to be a relationship manager. It was totally different than anything I had ever done, and that didn't work out. So I took a step and I was like, okay, all right, everything's fine. I was able to, during that time, really immerse myself in the community and find out what was good for me and what wasn't. And I did a little bit of travel with Ferrari, and it just got out there and kind of met people because, of course I was looking for a job, but what's the best way to do that is get out there and talk to people. I took some time. I wanted to find the right thing, and then ended up with SMG. Jillian Rowe owns SMG. She called me and said, I probably can't afford you, but I really want to talk to you. And so we sat down and had a conversation and worked things out. Money is not always the key to happiness, just so you know. You have to do things that fill your soul. And so I have ended up here at SMG. I'm happy as hell. I get to do things that feed my soul. I have a great boss, and I'm learning things along the way here too. So I'm very happy. That's my story. I'm doing all my things.
So that's interesting. I think that what I heard there is it was almost like a necessity when you made this career pivot based off of a life stage pivot, and things didn't work out in the tourism industry. You started networking almost for to build the connections for career opportunities for you. And it kind of takes me into how that became just from something you did because you felt like you need to becoming what it is now, but so much of a part of your brand, because I feel like different people do networking for different reasons. Some people truly do love networking. They're a fish in water as opposed to a fish out of water, right? And then other people they feel like I must be a part of the chamber, or I must be this just because it's like a cost of doing business. So how did you go from I needed to get to know people for career opportunities to becoming the Courtney Rawlins who's, in all these nonprofit boards and you're, a president of a really important business network?
From a very young age, I had always volunteered, and there was just something about it that kind of stuck with me. I enjoy those personal connections, and I don't think you have to work so hard at work if you have personal connections. It's also like kind of a strategy of being top of mind. So the more that you're out there and the more that you're doing things, the more people are going to remember.
Hmm.
I truly feel that, one, I didn't always feel this way, that I'm capable of helping. And I genuinely want businesses or nonprofits to be as successful as they can. And if that means that I can lend them my brain or lend them my ideas to do that, I want to do that. I think the key to my success with networking is I'm genuine. I really do care about the people I'm talking to. I really do want to see them be successful. And I think that they can if they have the right person and they have the right resources.
Okay. So, circling back is, if someone gets to know you through networking or, they're a client of yours or, so work with you at SMG, what's something that someone who gets to know Courtney Rollins needs to know about Courtney Rollins?
Oh my goodness, that's a good one. Something that they need to know about me.
To know you.
I'm extremely organized. So if someone comes to me at a networking event and says, listen, I need to talk to you about something, 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 I will be able to give them a date and time that I will be able to talk to them about that.
Hey.
I'm very, very organized. You're going to get you a date and time to be with me right then and there.
So, by the way, guys, if she says, "Oh man, my calendar, so I just don't know how to check my calendar," that she's really telling you something without telling you something. That's her Southern way of saying, not a good fit for me. So, just so everybody knows.
That's not true, but okay. No, I'm always gonna make time to help somebody. So,
All
and they
right,
can take my advice or they can leave it. Either one.
and you strike me as that way. Like I'm getting to know about different people, and we all have different strengths that we bring to the table. And you definitely seem like an operator. I think that's a good way to describe you. You're an operator. You just get stuff done, and
Yes.
there's some people who are like kind of talented people who start a business because they want a vehicle through which they can express their talents or whatever they love. You just seem like you're one of those business part of business kind of people. I don't know if maybe that's what drew you to banking and then took you down these different journeys, but you definitely seem like the operator type.
Well, I appreciate that because that is absolutely true. I really find great joy in having a task, completing it, and it being successful.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So there are two things I've heard as I've gotten to do networking in my own personal journey. Especially once I started to work for smaller companies and I needed, like, it was that small business community, and I was either a lead salesperson or a business development manager. And now that I've started my own business, I've been in the networking circles for a while. And two things I've heard of, I want to get your opinion on. So the first thing I wanted to get your comment on is, once I heard it's not so much about who you know, but who knows you. What do you think of that saying?
I think might be a little bit of both.
Okay.
Uh, you can know someone, that doesn't mean it's going to be a doorway into whatever you're looking at doing.
Mhm.
And I think top of mind awareness is important. So I think it's also about who knows you.
Mhm.
So I think there's a balance there between those two things, and you have to find that balance for yourself, how you operate. You have to know how you operate, you have to know how you do things, and kind of find the balance of where you want to live on who knows you and who you know.
Okay, okay. And then the second one actually comes straight from BNI. I definitely didn't come up with this one. Is that their mantra? If anybody's ever considered joining a BNI group, is givers gain. What do you think about the whole givers gain approach, and whether or not that's important in networking success?
I absolutely think that's important.
Hmm.
I absolutely do. It's been proven time and time again. The more things I give, the more things that come back to me. That it's absolutely true. I 100% agree with it.
Right, right. No, and I think that's something that I've learned even when it comes to marketing. You and I are both marketing people. A lot of what's talked about in marketing is you have to build a brand and you have to build an audience and you have to pay it forward. You have
Hmm.
to entertain people or inform people, and that's how you can build that trust. And you're going to give them something first without expecting them to give you something in return. I think it's even more so, like you said, if you're building a network, but then you're always asking for things and you're waiting for someone to come and hand you referrals and business, but you don't go put yourself out there. You don't get engaged in the community. You don't go recommend people. I guess you should reap what you sow, as they say.
You do reap what you sow. I think that's we were talking before about my success with networking and
Mhm.
stuff like that. I think that's might be the second key to it. I give my time, um, I give my thoughts and my ideas, and I think it's just, once you start doing that all the time, people learn that Courtney may have an idea or Philip may have an idea or whatever. And so they start to call you. And then what happens from that is they say, "Oh, well, I called Courtney. She might know."
Mhm.
And you just continually build that network. But you absolutely reap what you sow. If you don't put time into things, if you don't put effort into things, you're not going to get anything out of them. So I would 100% say givers gain. And I do think
Okay.
that's really cool that BNI uses that.
Right. No, I think it's a good kind of core foundation. So I was at the last Savannah Buy Local. By the way, for people who don't know, Savannah Buy Local is a very specific, exclusive type business community that meets in a variety of ways and connects in a variety of ways, but principally it's through a monthly lunch. And it's been it's been going on for like 20 something years, and it's been around since then.
21 years. 21 years.
Right. Right.
Mhm.
So you became the president, having been involved in other capacities with Buy Local before that, but you became the president. And then this thing called COVID-19 kind of shut down the world in a way that
She
no
sure
one could have
did.
ever. I know.
She
And
sure
and that
did.
that was your bag. You got to be the
Mhm.
president during that. And then you also, partly because of what happened in 2020, a lot of the leadership, including your presidency, carried over into 2021.
Mhm.
I remember a moment when you were given Jillian, who is the owner of SMG Advertising and Film, your boss of sorts. You gave her some praise and gratitude because you said that she was really on board with just how much of yourself you needed to pour out to do that job well.
Mhm.
What has it been like being that involved in a networking group of that importance? And what was that experience like for you? And what did you feel like you got out of it?
I would say that my presidency with Buy Local has been one of the most rewarding experiences I have ever had. I have learned a lot about myself and a lot of what I'm capable of, which is also really cool. I think you really start to get into woman owned organizations, woman owned businesses, and how we
Mhm.
start feeling about what we've been able to do with those organizations during a pandemic
Mhm.
and all that. Um, I just learned a lot about myself,
Mhm.
a lot about myself. I was not always this very on the outside confident person that
Mhm.
you see right now.
Mhm.
I was very, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? What am I doing? This is ridiculous.
Mhm.
Buy Local afforded me to do a lot of things to grow that organization, me being president to grow that organization. In 2020, I would have, it's hard to say that it was really bad that that happened because what came out of that was us to really sit down, see who we were at the
Mhm.
core of our mission, and stick to that and almost kind of revamp
Mhm.
where we wanted to go and how we wanted to build the organization. So while 2020 was, can I cuss, a shit show, um, it really did it really was kind of a blessing for us to be
Mhm.
able to get back to the core of who we were and give us an opportunity to decide, all right, this is the way we're going to go. And then in 2021, we were able to hit the ground running doing that.
Right.
So yeah,
No,
definitely learned a lot. That's for sure.
and I think you touched on something important because, businesses really had to pivot and they had to really look deep
Hmm.
down inside and decide, are we just going to take this, and take this punch and stay down for the count, or are we going to adapt and overcome? But really, for people out there, when you're looking at what are your current networking groups, what are your potential networking groups, what does your networking group do when its conveniences are taken away? Because, like you
Hmm.
said, y'all had to decide, are we just some lunch group? And then what are we if we can't meet in person for lunch the last week of every month? Then
Hmm.
what are we? And y'all decided to step up and to be able to achieve your mission, even sans being able to comfortably meet at a monthly luncheon. And y'all were able to show that you're more than that. And I think that that was really important to showing what Buy Local can truly be in terms of its value.
Thank you. We have a lot of good stuff planned for next year as well. We're going to see a lot more resources, a lot more ways to connect with not only business members, but some city leaders
Mhm.
and even higher than city leaders. They're going to have a great team next year. I will sit there as an advisor,
Okay.
but we have set things up for a lot of continuity and for this organization to continue to grow for another 20 years.
Awesome. So let me ask you one quick kind of transition question. Then we'll go to the audience, and I want to kind of close with you giving the audience some recommendations on how to approach the networking decision. So could you give me one good story or a great networking moment in your own personal experience, and then like a bad networking experience?
A good networking experience.
Mhm.
So, as I said before, my kids left the house. I was like, who am I? What am I doing with my life? About that time, there was the floods in Louisiana.
Mhm.
Not a hurricane, it was a flood. Torrential rains, the whole place flooded, Baton Rouge flooded. And for some reason that I'm still not aware of, I have this really deep calling to Louisiana. I just can't. New Orleans area. I don't know. It must be something in my family tree or family
Huh.
history. Yeah, it's crazy. Through all the networking connections I had made through Savannah's Best Connections, through the bank, from going to multiple networking groups, just kind of getting out there and seeing what was going on. A girl named Crystal,
Mhm.
who I met through a networking, and I were able to fill 5 tractor trailers full of food, clothes, water, baby supplies, house supplies, cleaning supplies to Louisiana during those times. I do not think that that would have been possible if I had not made all those networking connections. South Magazine reached out to me and they said, "This is amazing. We'll do a story on it," and made it
Mhm.
be even bigger. I wholeheartedly believe that that is because of the networking connections I had made, just kind of being out there and getting to know people and being genuinely concerned about the community I am. We're in a coastal community like they
Mhm.
are. That could
Yep.
happen to us.
Yep.
Givers gain.
Yep.
Putting that good karma out there and helping them, that was really important, but I don't think it would have been as successful as it was without those connections that I had made.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful because I think that we often think in terms of networking groups, in terms of ROI, how many new customers can I get, blah blah blah, and that's all good stuff. Like, I'm not belittling that, but when people are helping people,
Hmm.
the whole can be better than the sum of its parts, and you can make all kinds of impact that you would never typically think of. I'm going to join this business network in my city for XYZ reasons. Like, that's really beautiful stuff. You can go well beyond the next profit dollar, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what it's all about, right? Is
Hmm.
helping our fellow man. Yes, money's good and we all need money
Hmm.
to pay the bills and all that. But it's ingrained into us from the beginning of time to help other people, to
Hmm.
for have compassion for people that don't have quite as much as we do. And I just really believe that helping others is where it's at. And that's what really feeds your soul and makes you feel good. and then going to work doesn't feel so terrible because you're also doing really good stuff. So,
That's beautiful. So, I mean, this is fleshing out exactly why I wanted to bring you on is you've shown how much joy, how much fulfillment, how much success you can have from getting involved in the community. You are in your own situation and different things happen different ways, and you're involved in a lot of different places, volunteerism, boards, leadership roles. And a lot of businesses kind of transitioning to your advice for them. Okay, so you got a small business leader, you got a new entrepreneur. There's a lot of people starting up businesses this year, or you have established business that has dabbled in different networking attempts before. What's so overwhelming for sitting in my seat is you get advice about, well, you should join this one, you should join that one.
yep.
There's a bajillion ones. If you aspire to cover more than one city, you're going to have multiple city chambers. Then you have the industry associations, nonprofits, boards. And we only have a certain amount of time. And I think that it's a good instinct for business leaders, even if it's their job to get out there and network. You have to be very protective of your time. And so people can easily get overwhelmed when they're looking at the whole networking thing. What is your advice on finding, I guess, maybe whether or not you should be doing networking, but more importantly, what is the best networking group for you with your limited time?
Well, that's going to be up to you. And here's the best advice I can give you. Don't join anything until you've visited.
Okay.
Look at your membership perks. Visit, see if they're your people. Visit twice if you have to. Look at what times they meet. Check that against the busy times in your business, because if we're meeting between 11 and 1 o'clock on a Thursday and that's the busiest time in your store or whatever, that's not going to work for you, and therefore you're not going to reap any of the benefits.
Right.
Joining something, if you want the full rewards of it, is a commitment. My biggest advice that I always tell everybody: just because you join doesn't mean you're going to get business. You're going to get out of that networking group what you put into it.
Right.
So when I started Buy Local in 2017, I came in on the membership committee. I have put time and effort into it and ended up being president for 2 years. You have to put time into things. And if it's not a commitment that you're able to make, then that's not the group for you. But I always tell people, don't join anything until you visit. I even tell people, don't join Buy Local. We might not be your people. Come for a visit, see if you get we are going to be your people because we're awesome. But come to Buy Local, visit, and see if that's it. Go to the chamber and visit. Go to Downtown Business Association and visit. So the way Chatham County works is we have a lot of little municipalities and they have their own chambers. So I'm heavily involved with the Savannah Chamber. I'm heavily involved with the Pooler Chamber. Visit them both. See which one gives you the warm and fuzzies. And then once you visit them, look at what you're going to get for your membership dollars. See what your perks are and see if they match your business needs. Be strategic in who you join and what you get involved in, and you will only get out of that organization what you put into it.
Yeah, I would say amen to all that. And I would say furthermore for the audiences, my own experiences, the having a lot of options is good. And then I would say it's better to be part of fewer organizations and networks and be involved all in, rather than saying you got this long list of things where you're on the membership directory but you don't go to anything. And when picking that stuff, like last year, my first year in business, I was a member of a more tourism based network, but I saw that most of the membership were from 2 industries of which I just wasn't the best fit, or I just didn't feel like I was going to have a lot of success. Whereas the other ones that I am a member of, I try to at least go to the main monthly thing, if not try to go to some additional things when they offer it, and try to show my face, go to ribbon cuttings from time to time, even though sometimes it's not always convenient. But I feel like I have a nice little group that I can be involved in a lot. And I feel like when I look at the membership directory, directory is the kind of people I know that if I build relationships with, it'll be best for me and them, as opposed to throwing yourself out there to get the sticker
Mm-hmm.
put on your store window and then you don't really invest anything in it, right? Would
Right.
you second that?
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to join something just for the sticker on the window, then by all means. But if you want to join something and reap some benefits from it, be strategic in who you're joining and show up, be involved and be committed.
Okay. Yeah, that's this lady knows how to do networking right, so I needed to get that from her. So, kind of wrapping the bow on this conversation is, in summary, if you were to kind of package how can network groups? Okay, we have these different dollars because networking does take time and money. It does take
Mhm.
both, like any other marketing or business development investment. If someone says, okay, networking is going to be part of my business development strategy to grow my business and grow my impact, how can networking groups have the greatest impact on their business?
I think the main reward out of networking is that you'll see business. Ultimately, we're not in working or in business for fun. We're
Mhm.
in it to make money and pay bills and afford a certain type of lifestyle. And that is really the end game with networking, is to see an increase in business. And I can say from my experience that that is definitely has been the case with me.
Right. And it's increased business, like you said, through building relationships and building trust. It just does it in a way, it seems to me, that advertising can't. Like I got, and I'm still new in my business and I'm not as connected as you, and I'm
Mhm.
working on it. But, I had someone who's on a board of a big time business network in the Savannah area community. And especially, if you're listening to this and you're more in a big metro, things might be a little bit different. But if you're in a mid-sized market, especially where it's kind of got that everybody knows everybody kind of feel, or it's more like that kind of vibe, I mean, you can put out the advertising, and advertising does need to be a
Mhm.
part of it. But I had a lady who is a networking leader, runs a restaurant. She told me straight up, said, when I'm looking at my options, sometimes I'll just go to the person that I know because I've seen them at these different events, even if they aren't the lowest price or don't have the biggest, coolest brand power, because I
Mhm.
know them, you know?
It's personal connection. That's very important. I mean, because a personal connection leads to, again, that trust. They
Mhm.
trust you, and so they call you. It doesn't matter if you're the lowest price or whatnot. They have somebody that they know that they can call, and they ultimately trust them to do what they need done.
Yeah. No, I think that wraps it up perfectly. And once again, I can't thank you enough for coming on the program. People like you are how people like me can have success. I think that everybody, no man is an island, and I think it's successful leaders like you who are leaders in the community. And I think there's another beautiful thing about networking is we all help each other. People helping people, but people who have been there, done that, and they've paid their dues, and then they can help other people get a hand up and bring other people up. It's just that kind of,
Mhm.
not a vicious cycle, but a beautiful cycle
It
that
is.
can
It's good
continue.
stuff.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much for that, Courtney. In closing, like I said, you're even though you're the outgoing president of a really cool business group, people still can connect with you, and you're still doing all
Mhm.
kinds of stuff with SMG. I mean, you're still involved in the community. If people want to learn more about what you do and connect with you, what do you recommend?
I'd say shoot me an email. It's Courtney Rawlins at hotmail.com. And that's CourtneyRawlins. Or you can give me a call. I don't mind. I don't screen my phone calls.
There you go. And she still got the Hotmail. That's how you know Courtney's an
Yes,
old soul. She's old school with the Hotmail.
1992 call. They want their email back. And I said, no.
Oh
It's
man.
my name. You can't get rid of my name, right? I
I'm
mean, I
all
got to
over it. I
have it.
mean, Courtney deals with a lot of Hotmail because she's a very important person. So, it's very apropos that she would have a Hotmail
Yeah,
address.
if listen, Outlook bought Hotmail
Yeah.
maybe 4 or 5 years ago. I don't know why they can't just let us update to at Outlook, but
Hmm.
maybe it's because somebody else has my name. I don't know, but I wish they would.
I mean, it's become kind of a brand unto itself. Keep the Hotmail for as far as I'm considered. Keep the
I'm old
Hotmail, but
school, man.
I
Old
know.
school.
Well, that is Courtney Rawlins. She's going to go down into networking lore. Two-time president of Buy Local, and she's just getting started. Really, she is the operations director of S&G Advertising and Film. Courtney, thank you so much for giving us some great schooling today, and many blessings to you.
You're welcome. Thanks, Philip, for having me. I appreciate it.